Hey Nicole, yeah, good job on your masking. I know this takes a little bit of time, and again, you're going to have to smooth out some of the edges. Look pretty kind of rough through here too. You can use the other tools like the smudge tool, which is over here. Well, that's what it is for me because I have this set up a little bit differently. But if you right-click the smudge tool, it really works to smooth out the edges. So that's something that you could do. So my main suggestion is to continue working on making this less static and more dynamic. The head-on view makes it look pretty stiff. So this is why I showed you those image in back in that video too. But again, I'll just quickly let me see if I can find something like this where you're seeing the sides of. I'm not sure if that's I think that's like a PlayStation. See how you see the sides of this? It just will create a lot more depth. Let me see if I can find the computer, like this one. I mean, you see the sides of it. So, I mean, again, you could either rephotograph it or you could look online. Another thing too is even those boxes, if you give them some perspective, again, not approaching it everything head on. So if they're kind of from the side, and that means they're going to have some perspective. So they're going to look and there are perspective tools in Photoshop you could also use. Let me yeah, I would also separate these boxes. I wouldn't put them all together because then you can kind of move them around like they're joints. Like you can have this one box and you can kind of rotate it a little bit just for interest. This is the kind of goal of this is to make a portfolio piece. So you really do want to really work with these images to make them as animated and as interesting as possible. So again, in Google Image, I think that's a PlayStation though. I'm not completely sure or an Xbox. Let's just say Xbox because I just can't see it. It doesn't have enough detail. So again, if you go into the Google Images, you're going to get a lot of different images here that you can also get ideas from. But see how all of these you see a couple sides. Like this one, you see the top and the front. This one, you see the top and two. This is the 2-point perspective. So again, I would either rephotograph it, excuse me, or look for one of these images, but you have to make sure that you find a high quality one. Like if you mouse over, that's way too small, 200 pixels. You'd have to really find one that's this one's pretty small too because it's kind of a big piece, but I would definitely go for that. Then you're going to have it's going to look a little bit more more interesting, and it's not that hard to take a photo of it. I mean, see, look at this one. I don't know if you can see that. Let me make it bigger. But so if this was your character here, you could actually make the front boxes bigger and make the box legs and the back smaller, and it would just look it's going to look just more interesting and have more movement. I mean, so even if you look at Xbox games or something, you're going to end up seeing a lot of images too, and see how these are photographed. You're seeing a little bit of the side, and then it's using perspective. This side is shorter than this side, and because that makes it look like it has depth. So you might even want to think of some kind of overlap like this. So yeah, it's just, I mean, a lot of design is doing all this research. I love Google Image Search because I'm not saying I even copy stuff, but I get a lot of ideas by just looking how to do things. Getting ideas at how to create stuff. Again, you can see how this one is. This side's going to be smaller, and you're going to see the sides. So this was recommended early on, but I know a lot of students probably don't look at or carefully read whatever. But I mean, you could rephotograph these yourself, but I would definitely separate them. I know you're going to have a lot of different layers, but it will really help. And even in terms of the guitar, to show some sides of it would really help create more depth. I'm just going to do images again just to kind of show you. I mean, this is very simple, but see the side on here? The idea is just to make it look like it's more three-dimensional. Again, the side here really makes a big difference. so it doesn't look completely flat and not have any depth. And again, this is another good use of foreshortening. That means that this is a lot bigger than that, because again, what's in the foreground is bigger. Here's a really good example of foreshortening. This is a lot bigger because this is further away, the background. So anyway, yeah, just some feedback on that. So it's okay to get some, and you could get a side view of the controller too. And this project, most students find they have to gather images several times before they get something that works. So you really want to push yourself to create a real portfolio piece, and actually give the client the most interesting piece that that you can think of. Okay, so anyway, let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, and one way to really organize the layers easily too is if you select these layers and you click the folder icon, and it's going to put them in a group. So the cool thing about that is that then you can move this whole thing around and size it. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. That being said, if you separate the legs, you can put, you can have subfolders inside of it. Also, don't forget your text. We're supposed to, in the directions, it says to create some simple text. So anyway, I hope you found this useful. Yeah, so overall, nice job masking. Your images are good quality. Just need a little bit more interest than just the head-on one-point perspective. Okay.